Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another edition of the Focus program. I'm Pastor D.W. Tolbert, pastor of the New Hope Baptist Church here in the great city of Muskegon, Michigan, and I am delightfully glad to welcome you to our program today. Today we have a very interesting topic, to the degree that it affects everyone in our community and in our county. We're talking today with a young lady from the Muskegon Pregnancy Services. Her name is Deb Knoll, and she's with us today to share with us some very insightful information into some issues that you may not be quite aware of, and then maybe you may be aware of some of these issues that she's going to bring out today. But it's quite a unique type of thing that we want to share with our viewing audience today to let us know what's happening in our community and let the community know of the services that are offered through this great ministry. And so I'm delighted to have her with us today. Welcome, Deb, to our show, and welcome to the Focus program and the community, and we're glad to have you, and we thank you for taking the time to come and share with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly. Well, usually I like to begin by just asking our guests to just share a little bit of the history on yourself and your background and you know, how long you've been involved in the Muskegon Pregnancy Services and that sort of thing. And
well, my background really is in the business world. I was a purchaser and for 20 years, over 20 years. But at the time, I was still doing and helping ministry along the way. And I was a volunteer for Citizens for Traditional Values for about 8 years.
Okay.
And as well as I helped to co-found Muskegon County Prayer Initiative, which was an initiative to bring people to pray for our country, our state, and our nation.
Okay.
So those were things that was a very passion for me. And then for the last 3.5 years, I was on the board for Muskegon County or Muskegon Pregnancy Services.
Okay.
So it's always been a passion to bring truth and the education of this issue to women. And so my marketing background also is what really triggered to help, because they really could use some marketing help. So that was my love. And so then January, I was offered the position of the executive director. Priscilla Hinsey, who was there for over 20 years as the executive director, she retired.
Okay.
And so Muskegon Pregnancy Services have been around for about 30 years. And we were on Peck Street, and when we moved from Peck Street over here behind General Hospital, a lot of people thought we closed. So we're just trying to bring awareness that we're still there and we're still thriving, and we're looking to help more women.
And what is the address over there?
It's 1775 Wells Avenue.
Wells Avenue.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
And the phone number is this it right here?
Yes, it's 7. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Don't. I don't want to steal your thunder.
It's 231-726-2677.
All right. Good. So anyone can call anytime they like to get in touch with you at that number and at that location. All right. Good. So you're still there.
We're still there. We were started with Dr. Barquette and a group of passionate Christians that wanted to help the community, because we did not have a women's crisis center.
Okay.
And so when he moved to town over 30 years ago, he saw that we didn't have one, and his church, people at his church, came together around a living room coffee table, put in their own funds to start helping women. At that time, pregnancy tests were not available, so that we offered free pregnancy tests. And then eventually we got an ultrasound machine. The Knights of Columbus helped us get that, because they know that over 90% of women who see their baby within the womb will choose life.
Okay.
And we've always been told it was a blob of tissue. And when you see reality and you see truth, even as low as 12 weeks, a baby is fully formed and has a heartbeat. That they felt that it was so important across the nation Dr. Dobson also helped in the grants
Okay.
because they knew that as well.
Okay.
So,
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that because I'm very passionate about this kind of thing when it comes to that. You just kind of triggered something in my mind. You know, they say that when the question about when life begins, and you mentioned how some people think or were taught that it's just a blob of tissue. And it took my mind back to the scripture in Jeremiah where God said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you and I ordained you and sanctified you. So, you know, I believe that life begins in the heart and the mind of God.
yes.
You know, so it you know, I don't mind stepping out on a theological limb when I say this, but life begins prior to conception as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
God
it does.
knew you before you were formed in the womb. And so therefore, you know, to say that it's nothing you know, but a blob of tissue or something less than life is certainly not biblical. I didn't mean to go there.
Well, no, and in fact, that is one of our I want to say our big stance is the fact that God did know us.
Yeah.
He named us even before our mothers did.
Right,
He knew
right.
every hair on our head. So there's a lot of scriptures that talk about even Elizabeth, John the Baptist was filled
Right.
with the Holy Spirit within
That's
the
right,
womb.
in the womb.
So as a religious Christian understanding, we know that once the DNA is different than the mother and the father, once that conception happens, it's a different person. We know a lot more since 1973 when Roe versus Wade became law of the land, that we know now that the DNA is available, that science has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's life. We
Right.
know that at 12, or actually 27 days roughly, the heart beats. And by then, when the heart beats, all of the organs are there. We know that at a certain point that, sensitivity is very strong
Okay.
with the life of the preborn child. We call it a preborn child because it's a child. And I know that it goes through the fetus and up to a certain point, then it's, then we, I think it's up to 20 weeks that legally, or 22 weeks legally, a woman in Michigan can have an abortion.
Okay.
So, and that's, if you look at that, they're pretty viable by that time. Even science has proven that many children have been almost aborted and lived through it and still survived.
Wow.
So just getting that truth out there is
Yeah.
just so important. I
Right.
think once the woman sees the ultrasound, that natural instinct of motherhood kicks in, and over 90% will choose life.
Wow.
So it's so important for that young woman to come in. We offer free ultrasounds where if they go anywhere else, there's going to be a cost.
Okay.
So our
important,
ultrasounds are free, our pregnancy tests are free. We also just started, this is exciting, we started to do free STD testing.
Okay.
Because in Muskegon, if you don't know, we have an epidemic going on. We are
I see that in
third
your
the
in your
state.
information down here. I did not realize that. Third in the state.
Third in the state for chlamydia, fifth in the state for gonorrhea.
Wow.
Yeah, we have an epidemic in our schools and in our colleges, and so we started to do STD testing and treatment for women. Now, if a gentleman comes in, and we would need to work through the woman first because we are a women's center.
Okay.
But we still can treat him if it's found that she has a disease.
What is the cause of our such an increase in our numbers in our county? Is there any one or two factors that attribute to that?
I think it's just not educating our young people to know what STD is, how they get it. The whole sex talk is one of those awkward things for a family to talk about and for even the church to talk about. And we need to talk about it, for one thing. We need to forewarn our young people what it is they need to do. And in my belief, in we're a faith-based organization, we want to bring in godly principles. In God's design, there's safety. Outside of God's design for marriage and for sex, these kinds of things happen. You can get STDs, you can get HIV, you can have unplanned pregnancies. Those awkward topics, we're willing to come into churches, and we're offering free pizza parties to youth groups.
Right, yeah.
To have a 30-minute presentation
Right.
to educate and talk about these awkward things, and to prevent them. We believe education and preventatives is what we really need to do as the big C, the church in a whole.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I saw that in your material that our statistics are quite high, and I'm sure it's very alarming to you and to those in your ministry. What are some of the things that you're seeing? What are some of the things that are most concerning to Muskegon pregnancy at this point, besides the SDT epidemic?
STD, okay.
Are there any other things that are
Just really the
extreme
awareness
concerns?
that we exist. We actually brought in some people. We have a taco and a tour the second Tuesday of the month, and we want people to come there, and we can explain that we're there, first of all. But we had the health department come in. We talked to them. We're on a couple, this is exciting, we're on a couple different citywide community task force to try to reduce STD. So we're on an STD task force, we're on a human trafficking task force, as well as a suicide task force. We're seeing these kind of girls come into our center that as a community we need to take a look at them, talk about them, see how we can collaboratively work together to reduce those numbers. But what we're seeing is that people they don't know. They don't know about what abortion is, what is STDs. Kids think it's a funny thing, and we've heard of parties trying to get them. So I think it's education and letting kids know. We're not in the schools yet. We hope to be able to present the science part of all of our message into schools. We are offering them, like I said, to churches, but that brings in the biblical values that we can present as well. And just talking about the issue, people are not talking. So we want to just bring that forth, that it's okay to talk about it, because I tell you, by middle school, if we've not talked about it to our kids, it's too late. Middle school.
Yeah. Is it churches that are having more hesitant talking about it, or the parents?
I think parents need all the help they can get, and so in the schools, it's unfortunately not taught the abstinence message, because people think you can't obtain it. But we're saying, yes, you can. God designed it that way, and yes, we can obtain it if we teach it. And it's not being taught there. It's in fact being taught the opposite way, where have safe sex, everybody's doing it. Well, the truth of the matter is, in our community, it's like around 64% are not doing it, which is surprising to me. In the greater Grand Rapids area, it's 73% are not doing it. There is a portion of kids doing it, but there's still a greater portion of them not. So we want to let them know not everybody's doing it, you know. So just education about that, and just opening up the conversation. In the churches, I think there's some youth groups that are really tackling this, because they know, and we know, that this is pretty staggering, of abortions in our nation, it's like 68% claim to be Christian.
Wow.
Out of that 68%, 43% are in the church all the time. So we feel that if we can reach to the church first and talk to them about preventatives, we may prevent STDs, we may prevent unplanned pregnancies, and we may ultimately prevent abortions. So it's all in the educational piece, and we really want to help our kids. I can't even imagine raising kids in this day and age. It's in their face daily.
It's a challenge, to say the least, you know, dealing with children and young people today. You certainly have your work cut out for you. And the educational part of it, you know, that's quite challenging to reach our children. Tell us a little bit more about this pizza party. That sounds interesting.
Well, and you're hanging on to our flyer that we have. So this is the pizza party is again, it's free pizza for a youth group. We'll bring it in. You get the drinks, and we'll bring it in, and we have a 30-minute presentation that Ann, our nurse manager, put together. It's basically science explained. Even when intercourse happens, there is something in science in your brain that actually bonds the two together. And so that's what really, we have all these soul ties. You talked about soul ties. And I wanted to have you open up that little flyer.
Okay.
When a young couple think that they're the only one and that, they love each other. When in fact, when you look at that diagram, I don't know if you can show that diagram, but they're not alone. You can see the fact that the two young people are together, but all of those people that they've been partners with before, it could be back in the history that someone had herpes, and then it's carried on to all the other ones, partners that they have. So we educate them about what happens chemistry-wise in the brain, what happens in the statistics of young people coming together, and we want to let them know it's okay to say no. It's okay to be a virgin. It's in God's design, it's in God's protection. So it's a 30-minute one. We actually make it kind of fun. We have a couple different demonstrations that we do with two hearts come together. We put the glue together. We pull it apart. When you pull it apart, you see a little bit of each on each heart.
Okay.
It's important for them to know, first of all, what God designed intercourse to be. It's the love and commitment. It's a covenant that you're doing between a man and a woman.
Right.
And we want to bring that, and I know it's an awkward topic, so we're willing to come into churches, into youth pastors, and let us present it. We also have access to what's called the Whole Sex Talk, which is a curriculum from the Grand Rapids PRC that we can share.
Okay.
And it's a great program that covers all issues that are just very uncomfortable to talk about.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we're doing. Another thing that we're doing is, I mentioned the Taco Tuesday. This is the second Tuesday of the month. Okay. Come take a tour, and we'll have a taco for you. We want to converse and let you know of the resources we have. One of the things that we do offer the young women is a Earn As You Learn curriculum where they can earn cribs, car seats, things that they need, resources that they need, and as well as clothing. The other thing we're doing, and as far as how can people help us, is we have a couple different fundraisers throughout the year. We have what's called the Life Walk. It's going to be held down at the Old Y.
Okay.
And so it's a fun event to bring awareness, but also to raise funds. Okay. But what I'm excited about is our banquets. We're hoping to bring in some very good speakers, and this year I'm just honored to have Star Parker come in. Star Parker is a beautiful African-American woman who has had 4 abortions herself.
Oh, wow.
And how she, through Christ, found that redemption, but also is working for the inner city community by helping them with what's called urban care. It's a neat program that she's put together to help. So those are our 2 big fundraisers, but the other thing we have is what's called Baby Bottle Boomerang, which churches, when we are invited to speak, I can do a 5-minute presentation or 20-minute presentation. But we ask each of the churches, this is something simple, but it's big for us, is to take home a bottle, baby bottle, and put change or checks in it, but pray for us. Because we are in the forefront of the fight for life. And we see young women desperate, thinking they're all alone. And we want to bring that encouragement and that they're precious to them, even if they've made a mistake. I went to go see Abby Johnson, who was Planned Parenthood's #1 salesperson in Texas. She had received awards for being one of their top sales. And she said, the easiest person I could sell to were Christian young women because they felt in the church that they would be rejected. And so we want to change that.
Yeah.
Can we change that as a church body, that we first want to teach them the right way, but if they make a mistake, we're not going to shun them.
Yeah.
We're going to help them.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we too in the church, we have a lot of work to do as well, to address these issues and to create an environment where young people feel comfortable, like you just mentioned, that they're not going to be ostracized and ignored and otherwise abused, in various ways that we can possibly do. Yeah. It's just another way of showing and spreading the love of Christ.
Right.
So that's I think that's very, very important.
Well, we've all made mistakes, and in fact, one of the things that we offer when I do go out to speak is the fact of the women that have chosen abortion. And 1 in 4 women have chosen abortion. They're sitting in our pews and they're suffering silently. We have a program for them that we walk them through the salvation, the restoration that you can have only through Christ. And they're sitting there in the pews that are very shameful. They feel shame, they feel regret, they feel hurt. And we want to help them as well. So we do have a program for abortion healing. And we just want to let the church know we're there to partner with them and to help them.
Good. I see in here, too, you have some support for new fathers.
We do.
Yeah,
we do. That's really exciting.
Sure. Tell us what that's about.
We have advocates for women, and then we have 5 male advocates that will then focus on the father with the Earn to Learn life program that we have. If they bring in their partner, we will have these men sit with them, talk to them about obviously the norm of marriage and that type of thing, but also talk to them about being a good father and being a good husband, and just encourage them into the godly principles. Now, then we're not going to be there to judge them by any means, but we feel that it's a couple thing. It's important. I believe a lot of our society's problems is because of the fatherless generation, and we really need to sow back into our fathers and into the dads. And so we have we could use more male advocates. We could use more female advocates.
Yeah, that was my question. I was going to ask you too. If you know about the men on staff that are available.
They're not on staff. These are all volunteers.
Or volunteers.
Yeah, we only have 5 staff members.
Okay.
It's a very skeleton crew.
Lean and mean.
Lean and mean. Yes, definitely. But we have some wonderful volunteers that come in on a weekly basis. And that is something that you don't have to be an advocate to be a volunteer. You could help us with marketing. You could help us be a life advocate, going to churches, a liaison from your church that would be a representative from your church that could partner with us.
Okay.
So those are different things. But yes, the father program and the parenting program is really key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If there was 1 or 2 things you could mention to the community as far as how the community could help,
Sure.
what would that be?
Well, we're focusing this year especially on Business for Life. We're looking for Business for Life that will partner with us to help with these kind of educational programs, the pizza parties, the opportunity to possibly bring what's called the Silver Ring thing, which is a college-age students that will speak to this generation in music and dance and drama, to bring in speakers like Dr. Elvita King, to bring in speakers like Star Parker, Dr. Levatino, who was an abortionist, who is now a Christian. And the key component for these speakers is Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And it's very exciting. So yes, we're looking for businesses that would partner with us. There's several levels that they could give. As churches, have us come in. Let us help to teach this 30-minute program to your youth groups. Let us come in to teach a 5-minute who we are to your churches. Those are things, just the awareness. Partnership is great, but financially, you can't do what we do without help financially.
Okay. And again, they can get in touch with you at 231-726-2677. We'll put that on our screen, so there probably should be out there now where they can look at that.
And we have a website too, is MuskegonPregnancyServices.org.
Okay, all right. And the address again on Wells?
It's 1775 Wells Avenue, behind Old General Hospital.
Behind Old General Hospital. All right, well, that's good. That's good. I know that you're doing a great job and going to continue to do well. And if you're interested in volunteering to help and work with the Muskegon Pregnancy Services, you can also contact Deb at that contact information. I'm sure they would love to have some more help.
Thank you. Yes, we would.
Yeah, love to have some more help. I certainly appreciate all that you do and all that you're working to do to make the community a better place. And so we're praying that the success of this ministry will continue. I know there are lots of people that have been helped by it and have benefited from it. And so we're glad that it's there, and we're glad that you were able to spend some time with us and share with our viewing audience about what's going on over there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
We had one young mother after one of our presentations to the youth group contact us and let us know that their daughter rededicated their life to Christ, as well as rededicated her life to purity.
Oh,
And we're so
really
excited.
good.
One other thing coming up is our Mother's Day tea.
Yes, I meant to mention that.
Yes,
Yeah,
I forgot. Almost forgot.
I got a flyer on here about.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. You got
Mother's
one.
Day tea is coming up May 13th. It's going to be a fabulous program to young people. It's for grandmothers, mothers, granddaughters. We're going to have a fun photo booth where you can dress up with hats, but you can come with hats. It's an old-fashioned tea, and the program is going to be fabulous. These young girls are going to get a beautiful book that's called Beautiful Girlhood, all about purity, all about willing to wait in God's design for marriage.
Okay.
So please come to this, and tickets are going fast, so call us.
Okay, and the
reserve.
hats are just any kind of hat you want?
Oh, it's, the beautiful hats that all the lovely ladies love
where
to wear.
in the church?
In the church.
Oh, church
yeah.
hats.
Church hats.
Oh,
yes.
man,
We get
yeah.
to come all dressed up like Easter. Yeah, it should be a fun
okay.
program.
All right. Well,
Yes.
yeah, it is.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, I had a flyer. I had the pleasure of being with you over at the MAPS meeting, and you shared some of these things, and I thought it was so interesting, so great. So and that's going to it's coming up real soon, isn't it?
Yes.
May
13th.
May 13th on
Yes.
Saturday.
Call now to reserve your seats.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Very good, very good. Well, we thank you again. We're just about out of time, and we certainly do appreciate you stopping by and sharing with us and taping our program today.
Thank you, Reverend Tolbert.
Yeah, we
Very
do
nice.
appreciate it, and we pray God's blessings upon you and your ministry and all that you do for our great community. And so we look forward to maybe sometime in the future you coming back and talking to us about the progress that you've made and any new things that are happening in the Muskegon Pregnancy Services.
God bless you. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you so much. And so this will conclude our program today. We thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you tuning in once again to the Focus program. This has been Focus with Pastor D.W. Tolbert. And remember, always remember, and never forget, when you get with Jesus, you're going up. Thank you, and God bless you, and we'll see you again real soon.